Okay, let's say you're using your LinkedIn company page to its fullest. Your company page admins are publishing all kinds of great videos and articles, sharing news and information about your company and industry, and all of that amazing content is popping up in the LinkedIn news feeds of your company followers, the folks who have expressed interest in your company on LinkedIn. And that's great. After all, they're the LinkedIn members who are twice as likely to interact with your employer brand. But even if you have 10,000 or say 100,000 or even 1 million followers, you're only reaching a small fraction of the hundreds of millions of members on LinkedIn. Enter sponsored content. Sponsored content not only enables you to raise your brand awareness, build relationships with professionals, and attract quality candidates to your company, it also lets you take a piece of content that you've published as a company update and push it out to a broader, targeted audience beyond your company page visitors and followers. And with direct sponsored content, you can create new content and publish it directly to the LinkedIn news feeds of your target audience without publishing it to your company page. Let's take a closer look at how sponsored content works. First, you'll need to access the Campaign Manager, which is where you'll create and manage sponsored content. From your LinkedIn account, click Work and then Advertise, or go directly to linkedin.com/ads. On this page, I'll click Manage Ads to access the Campaign Manager. Once you're in Campaign Manager, you'll see your company logo and name displayed. Below your company info, you'll see one or more account names, which are links to your corporate accounts. Be sure to select an account that has budget attached. If you click a link here and are prompted to enter your credit card information, you're in the wrong place. And don't worry if the account status is listed as inactive. That just means that there are no campaigns currently in progress. I'll click the account named Enigma Corporation 1. This is where you'll access and manage all of your sponsored content campaigns. When you first access this page, confirm the account level budget. This number represents the total amount budgeted for this account. Spend is how much of that budget has been used so far. Let's create a sponsored content campaign. I've posted some updates to my company page highlighting our company culture, and I want to broaden the audience beyond our company followers to the web development or information technology community in the greater Chicago area. Click Create Campaign in the upper right corner, and then click Select for sponsored content. First, I need a campaign name. I recommend that you work with your team to come up with a consistent campaign naming convention. And don't worry, this is an internal-facing name, so no one outside your team will see it. I'm creating a campaign to let web development professionals in Chicago know about our amazing corporate culture, so I'll enter Corporate Culture Chicago. Now, choose a language for your sponsored content. This should be the same language as the content for your campaign. Next, I'll select Send People to Your Website or Content. You also have the option to increase followers, which will add a follow button to your ad and possibly generate more company followers. Everything looks good, so I'll click Next to move on. On this page, you'll see the available content that has already been created. The majority of content will likely be existing updates for your company page. But any content created for a direct sponsored content campaign will be indicated in your list with this label. Direct sponsored content is useful if you have content that you want to reach a specific or niche audience, but might not be of interest to your larger group of followers. For example, you might want to reach recent graduates or people with an interest in social justice or environmental issues. Here are a few best practices to keep in mind when sharing content on behalf of your company, whether you're posting an update to your company page and followers' news feeds, or sharing content with a select audience through direct sponsored content. Be creative. Be visual. Have a clear call to action. And when possible, start a dialogue with your audience. Also, remember that you are representing your company, so be sure to use the voice of your company. And most importantly, make sure the content you share provides professional value to your target audience. If you want to create your own direct sponsored content, you would click the Create Sponsored Content button. If this link is inactive, contact your account manager or relationship manager for access. But I'm not creating direct sponsored content at the moment. I'm creating a campaign to highlight our company culture for candidates in the Chicago area from content that we've posted as status updates on our company page. So from the list of content, I'll select this update, which links to an article about amenities in our fancy new downtown office, and this one, which links to a video of one of our many community outreach events. By selecting multiple updates here, you'll have more content displayed to your target audience. I'll click Sponsor Selected Content to continue. Now it's time to select the target audience. The location field is required, and since I'm targeting Chicago, I'll start entering that here, and then select Greater Chicago Area from the drop-down. Notice how the estimated target audience number changes as I add criteria to my target audience. As you gain more experience, you'll get a better sense of what the number should be for your audience and content. But keep in mind, a low number here means you might not be reaching a large enough audience. A high number and you might be casting too wide a net. A good rule of thumb is to find a mix that targets between 50,000 and 300,000. I'm at almost 4 million, so I'm going to narrow my audience by selecting job title and entering web developer. That brings my target audience down to 2,000, which is too low, so I'll close out job title and broaden my search by using job function and entering information technology. Now that brings me up to 170,000, which is perfect. You can continue to tinker, adding and removing criteria to find the best mix for your content, but I'm happy with this, so I'll move on by clicking Next. The last step is to decide how much you want to spend on your sponsored content. A best practice is to scroll down to the bottom, click Show End Date, Total Budget, and Ad Rotation options, and enter your total budget. I'll enter $2,000. Next, select a bid type. If your objective is for someone to click on your content, such as watching a video or reading an article, then you'll want to select Cost per Click, and you'll pay every time someone clicks on your content. If you chose to include a follow button with your sponsored update, you'll also incur a per-click charge for every new follower generated by your campaign. If your objective is brand awareness, such as viewing an image or reading a quote, then you'll want to select Cost per Impression, and you'll only pay for every 1,000 views. Generally, for talent-related campaigns, most people select Cost per Click, and that's what I'll select here. The daily budget is the maximum your campaign will spend per day. By adjusting this amount, you can set the minimum number of days your campaign will run. As a best practice, we recommend that you run your campaign for at least 10 days. Since my total budget is $2,000, I'll enter $200 here, and that'll ensure that my campaign runs for at least 10 days. It will go longer if I don't hit that daily maximum. The bid field automatically populates with a bid amount in the suggested bid range. The bid range is an estimate of the current competing bids by other advertisers targeting the same audience, and is intended as guidance to help ensure your campaign is competitive. A best practice is to bid in the mid to upper range to ensure that you're competitive with what other advertisers are bidding. Keep in mind that your bid is the maximum you will ever pay, but usually you'll pay less because LinkedIn uses a next penny auction for sponsored content. This means that when your bid wins, you only pay 1 penny more than the next highest bid. For example, if you bid $10 and the next highest bid was $9.50, you only pay $9.51. The default bid for my campaign is a little above mid-range, so I'm going to leave it as is. In a couple of days, I'll check how my campaign is performing, and if I'm not reaching my daily maximum budget, I can increase my bid to be more competitive. I'm going to start my campaign immediately, but if I wasn't ready for it to launch, I could set a start date for the future. I'll leave the end date field empty because I want to run my campaign until my budget runs out. One thing to keep in mind before you pull the trigger: once you've created a post, the targeting parameters, the bid, and the budget all can be adjusted. However, the content itself cannot be edited. You'll have to turn off the post and create a new piece of content. But I'm ready to go, so I'll click Launch Campaign, and my sponsored content will be live. And that's it. You're now ready to start using sponsored content to raise your brand awareness, build relationship with professionals, and attract quality candidates to your company.